All right, here we go. Final session of the day. Welcome back to the PagerDuty booth theater. This talk will make more sense if you've already had a nice beverage, right? Because it's that time of the day. Welcome back to the PagerDuty booth. I am Mandi Walls. I'm a developer advocate here at PagerDuty. And this talk is a little tongue-in-cheek. Give a machine a hand. We're going to talk about AIOps a little bit because I've seen your alerts, and y'all, they're trash, right? And you're not helping yourselves out, and you're certainly not helping out the AI models that are trying to help you with the AIOps functionality in our platform, right? So let's take a look at this for a few minutes here. So where does the data in your organization actually live? Where does the organizational learning actually get recorded? A lot of times it gets stuck in people's brains. It's just there, you learn it, you get the experience, and that's where it stays. Because technologists are not awesome at being very conscientious at recording all of the things that we learn. We like to do, some of us hopefully like to do post-incident reviews. So maybe we have a nice document at the end of an incident that we ask our junior folks to read, our new folks to read, and they learn from it. We can ingest that then into machine learning models and make it available through agents and things like that. Sometimes stuff is in static documents. Again, great stuff. We bring it forth, we put it into the models and into the agents. Maybe it's missing. Maybe it didn't get recorded at all. And we see this a lot because they think, oh, it's not super important. Oh, we're too busy to do it. Or somebody forgot, or they didn't feel like it, or they're not incentivized to actually do it. They don't consider it part of their job, and there's not actually any executive buy-in for recording that. Now, the unfortunate part is the machines that we have right now, the AI models that we have right now, don't learn like toddlers, right? Because it's hilarious when my toddler niece learned to swear from my brother, right? That was very funny for the rest of us. We did not inject swear words into her brain. She just heard them. Unfortunately, our AI models, we have to inject stuff into them. We have to give them that data for them to learn from. So it has to be in a place where they have access to it. So we know with these models, the garbage in is garbage out. Unfortunately, we have seen this if you've been using LLMs. You can tell where they were trained, especially the early versions of some of these are like, oh, this is like asking Reddit for advice, and this is what I'm getting back as advice from Reddit, and that's probably not what I want. As they get wider data, and that's been part of the controversy of some of these larger models, where is the data, who does it belong to, and that's how they get trained and get more interesting and more applicable. For real-time alerts, though, we want to be able to have clarity. We want to be able to know exactly what is wrong right now and have that data be available to our responders. And that means every alert that comes into a platform like PagerDuty has to have some kind of real explicit meaning and tie back to what is actually wrong in the platform. And unfortunately, we're not super good at this. Some of our tooling kind of encourages us to be very sloppy. Some of it allows us to leave a lot of the knowledge to the humans, because I'll put some nonsense into the alert and somebody on my team will know what that means, but that doesn't help me later when I want that to be ingested into an AI model for the next person down the road. If my team changes, if that service gets reassigned to sustaining engineering or some other team, they don't have all that institutional knowledge. It's like trying to share inside jokes. They don't have that data to build on, so we want to be sure that we are sharing it as much as possible. So we see a lot of things. There are bad alerts, there's unclear descriptions, there's just other junk that gets into the flow. And that slows down your human responders, but it really damages what AIOps models are able to do with your alerts. It makes them much more inflexible, makes them a lot more less useful to what we actually want them to do. So what we have in our systems is a bit of pieces where if you're using PagerDuty, you may have a bunch of this other stuff on the bottom, right? We have stuff coming in from all over the place. It looks different. Lots of the tools that we integrate with give us all kinds of crazy things. And we're trying to align all of that to a place where it makes sense for your current live alert, right? So whether it's coming in from Datadog or Splunk or Elastic or any of the other people on the floor today, right? All of these things that we integrate with. Maybe it's coming from email. Maybe it's change events that are coming in from your infrastructure as code or other places. If it's not conscientiously built in a way that the things all hang together, our models don't have a chance at helping you out. If you haven't been very conscientious about service names or host names or how you are describing the problem in the alert, it's really, really hard for us to go back and say, yes, this particular problem actually relates to a database issue that we have already seen, and we can link these up. It's very difficult to do that sort of on the fly. So maybe we've got, say, an application, right? It has some databases, it has some stuff in the application layer, and it has some front ends. And maybe I've got, well, that was supposed to build. All right, so maybe I've got a problem on, say, my web database, that one up there on the left. Lots of things depend on that database. My search component does, my user preference application relies on that web database. So, okay, I got a problem in my web database. It shoots an alert off. Now, when user preferences picks up that there's a problem with that database, the folks that developed that were like, we only have one database, so when we alert that there's a database problem, we're just going to shoot off, hey, problem on database. And we don't need to know that that's the web database because we only use one database. We know it's the web database. Who cares? So that piece of crucial information is missing, and that piece is something that PagerDuty would rely on to connect these up together. Now, search is a little bit different because it relies on 3 databases. So when the alert comes in from search, it says, hey, there's a problem on the web database. So that alert gets linked up to the problem on the web database. So now I have 2 continuously running alerts. I have my web database alert that has now gained extra information from search. But I also have this additional alert from user preferences because I have no way of linking it back to web because I was not conscientious in how I was writing my alerts and how they were getting to PagerDuty. So when I get to my application layer, same sort of thing can happen. I have lots of codependencies, lots of things that are linked into the mesh, and I can link some of them back to that initial web problem, but some of them get hung up just getting stuck at user preferences. So I end up with 2 alerts, 2 instances running when I really should have had 1. So I want to be very conscientious when I'm building my alerts because what humans know and what humans have in their brains has to be recorded for the machine to learn from it. It has to be explicitly built in. And we know these are fragile. We know that it's possible to poison very, very large models with very, very small bits of data. There was some research published last quarter by the folks at Anthropic. They had one of these big models with billions of parameters. They injected like 200 bad documents and poisoned the whole thing. So like we have to be very careful about how we are putting data into these models because our models are much smaller. So what do we want to do? To get more benefit from AIOps, we want to be very, very explicit about the relationships in our system, especially in our complex microservices environments, how all the relationships function, make sure we are using the same names for things so that when something alerts because of the web database, everybody alerts because of the web database. We want to, when we have the opportunity, use manual grouping. This gets a little tedious, but as folks start to onboard with AIOps, we see them come through and they're like relying on content that's inside the alerts and some institutional knowledge, and they're able to build that in. And you can manually link things together so that the model will learn and get better at the next time these kinds of relationships pop up in the alerts table. We want to set standards. And I know people love a standard. SREs, you love standards? Yes, of course you do. So we want to make sure that we are using lots of different tools. You may have dozens of tools in your infrastructure, but if we set some standards for service naming, for service relationships, for all of those kinds of things, we're able to build on that, create these better data sets for our models to learn from, and then we benefit from that. We want to work with all of our teams to align all of that data, because if folks are left to their own devices, they're going to take every shortcut they know, and it's going to be database error all over the place. And finally, we want to reduce our bad alerts, because we have very small models for this, right? We're not running billions of parameters against your alerts in PagerDuty. So we want to make sure that the stuff that comes in, the alerts that come in, are good and they are meaningful, they have enough information in them so that when they do come into the alerts table and we are comparing them to what we already know about your systems, we're able to link them up and make good sense out of them. So that's the short end of that. We really love for folks to play with the AIOps components, learn more about it. Our demo stations can give you a look at it if you haven't seen it yet, but otherwise, have a few more drinks, enjoy the rest of your evening.